In episode 18, the story begins on one snowy day at the Avalon residence. There's Kirill downstairs in the dining room, and he just has all the treats and ice cream for himself since he has the house to himself, and there's nobody there, not even Sakura's father and Tori's father, and Tori, Sakura's brother, there to catch him in the act. As for Sakura, you may have wondering where is she? Well, she's on a skiing field trip with her friends and along with her teacher, Mr. Terada. So just like what any person would do, Sakura would do anything, skiing and everything else. Everybody was having a good time. So here comes Sakura and she just approached Chelsea and Nikki. Let's not forget Sakura's best friend Madison. She's there too, and she just made a compliment with Sakura to say not bad on your first time skiing. Although Sakura agrees with her best friend and says, I'm trying not to be so clumsy, but other than that, it's okay. So, there goes Eli, and he did really, really well. Not bad. So, when Eli approached Madison and Sakura, and you can tell they were very impressed. So Sakura says, That's wonderful. Where'd you learn to ski like that? Well, Eli was more than happy to answer that. He says, Well, I ski pretty much anywhere, but it takes a lot of practice. He's not kidding. Then Zachary shows up to say, I agree with that. Skiing can be a lot of fun, but it's the abominable snowman you had to avoid from, Zach said. But Sakura dismisses Zachary's claim to say there's no such thing as a Yeti. On the contrary, Zachary said, there is such a thing, and it's been a legend around these mountains since, Zach said. Now Eli happens to agree with Zach. And that's when both Zach and Eli are trading stories of what the Yeti does and etc. Well, back with Nikki and Chelsea, you can tell that Chelsea's getting really annoyed. But there is one thing that she can agree with, as she said to Nikki. It looks like Eli has just found a partner, and that would mean her cousin Zachary. So long story short, after Sakura was told by Nikki and Chelsea not to listen to them and that they were joking and etc., when out of nowhere comes Lee and he's skiing out of control. So anyway, Lee, now out of control in his skis, just passed by the girls, Chelsea, Nikki, and Sakura and Madison, and also the boys, Eli and Zachary. Things are looking bad for him when Lee was about to crash into a tree. But instead of Lee crashing into a tree, he ran into Eli. Luckily, Eli saved him when he did. So Eli asked Lee, Are you okay? What are you doing here? Lee asked. Well, I just came here to tell you, Eli says, you should be more careful and to concentrate a little bit more, Eli suggested. So Lee stands up after Eli pleads his case to Lee how he should focus more and etc. So Lee says, If you have something to say to me, then just say it. But Eli doesn't say anything, and here come the girls, Sakura and Madison. Luckily, Sakura is fine thanks to Lee asking her, and of course, Lee is fine too. So, meanwhile, at the chalet, it's now almost 9 o'clock at night. Well, you can tell that the fireplace is very huge, and there's Sakura and Madison. So, what Sakura wants to know from Madison if any of them can tell ghost stories. Come on, Sakura, Madison says. It'll be fun. Besides, they're just stories, that's all. After Sakura had asked the question, she had to stay and listen. Of course, we have Sakura's other friends that are also there. Chelsea, Nikki, Rita, Zachary, Eli, and Lee. Forgive me, I had to skip the scene where Eli tells a story about the three skiers that went mysteriously missing, so it's now 9 o'clock at night. So when Chelsea realizes that it was getting late, and Zach agrees with her, so it's now time for everyone to head off to bed. But before doing so, Nikki thanked Eli for the ghost story. It's not a problem, Eli said to Nikki. So Nikki suggested to Eli before heading off to tell one on the bus ride back. And of course, Eli agrees with that. I can't say for sure. So as everybody else went off to bed, well, except for Eli and Sakura, that's when Eli asked her a question. You don't like ghost stories much, do you? Well, Sakura made a confession with Eli since everyone likes ghost stories that much. She didn't want to ruin it for everyone. So, just as curious as she can be, that's when Sakura was asking Eli, what is he afraid of? Well, not only did Eli said yes, and when Sakura asked him what it was, and he says, well, I think I'll let you in on a little secret, he said. Now, what that secret is, I can't say for sure. So now that everyone's gone to bed, what Sakura doesn't know, she's about to have a very strange dream again, like she does every other night. So the dream sequence started with Sakura and her return off it, just like it was many times before, but instead of standing in a brick archway, she was staring at the shrine. Now that's the exact same shrine from 2 episodes ago. But wait, there was someone or something that's standing on top of the shrine. Then what Sakura saw next was unbelievable. A strange power of some sort that's coming to the sky that causes the lunar eclipse. The last thing we see of Sakura is that she was running through the hallway of the house. The last thing she did was to stop and look through the open door. Then what happened next was unbelievable. There's a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse that happened at the exact same time, as the power of darkness has blackened the sky. So when Sakura woke up back in the present 2 hours later, she couldn't sleep, so she went to meet up with Lee, who also couldn't sleep, and he was sitting in front of the fireplace. So when Sakura asked what was going on, that's when Lee confessed that he couldn't sleep. So Sakura confessed that she couldn't sleep either, so he allows her to sit with him. So she was telling Lee about that strange dream that she had since 2 episodes ago when she and Madison were at the shrine that day. So, according to Sakura in her case, she's been having the exact same dream every night, except the last one she had was pretty different. So she told Lee about it. So flashback as Sakura explains in the present scene that the dream started with a power of darkness that blackens the whole sky, then the lunar eclipse, and then the solar eclipse, and someone standing on top of the shrine. Then back in the present, that's when Lee dismisses Sakura's dream and then asks the question, how is this possible? How can this be? At first, Sakura doesn't answer, and then she looks at Lee to ask what was wrong with him. Then Lee made an omission by confession to Sakura that he had the exact same dream as she did. So now that Sakura and Lee are outside, that's when Lee confessed that he didn't want to believe in the dream at first because he thought it was crazy. So being curious, Sakura wants to know from Lee what do those dreams mean and what to expect. After Lee had thought about it, he said he isn't sure yet. Then Sakura told Lee something very interesting. She says according to Kiro just 2 episodes ago, he told her that there were visions and premonitions. Now Lee, who agrees with her, says that might be the case. Then Lee also says that if it were the case, we had to be prepared at all times. Plus, we need to be on guard. Then Lee says that we need to combine our magical powers whenever necessary because something weird is going on around here, and he's not kidding. I know, Sakura says, and I happen to agree with you. Then Lee also says that we're going to need all the strength that we can get. So the very next morning, everybody went skiing, including Sakura. Luckily for Madison, she has it recorded. Mr. Terada was very impressed and made a compliment with Sakura to say, wow, you're getting a lot better. He's not kidding. So long story short, now that Sakura had her turn, it's now Lee's turn. Now as you can tell, Lee is getting better too. So Mr. Terada says that you're all on your own now, so go ahead and have a good time and we'll meet back later for lunch, he said. Then Mr. Terada said to Lee and Sakura, I'm sure you two can handle the Blue Mile runs. It's a ski lift away from here. And so both Lee and Sakura agreed. Then Mr. Terada says, oh, one more thing, don't go too far off. So after that, Mr. Terada heads off. However, Sakura wanted to know from Lee if he can try out the blue run now. Well, maybe a little later, Lee said, and so he heads off. Then Madison shows up to tell Sakura how quick of a learner that Lee is, and of course she's not kidding when she said it. Long story short, after Lee had that minor mishap, that's when Madison says, on the other hand, Lee's concentration could use a little more work, she said. Then suddenly it started to snow, and that's when Eli shows up and asks Sakura and Madison if they're having a good time. As a matter of fact, we are, Sakura said. Madison has a suggestion if she and Eli would like to go back to the chalet with her. So Sakura made a suggestion. She says that since she promised Mr. Tara she'll try out the blue runs a little bit, she's going to stay out a little longer and then meet her back later. So Madison agrees to wait for Sakura at the chalet. In the meantime, Sakura and Eli agree to have one last ski run together. So, as Eli and Sakura were riding the ski lift, that's when Sakura says, wow, it's really snowing. You're not kidding, Eli said, because he happens to agree with her. Then Sakura has this thought in her head about Eli's story the previous night, about the skiers that went mysteriously missing. Long story short, Eli and Sakura continues to ride on the ski lift as the snow blows harder and harder. So Eli says, gee, I've never seen snow blow so hard before. Neither do I, Sakura said. So Eli made a suggestion with Sakura that since it's much too dangerous to go up any further, it should head straight back, and Sakura agrees. So meanwhile, at the chalet, Mr. Terada told everybody to get inside immediately, so that's what they did. So meanwhile, inside the chalet were Chelsea, Nikki, Rita, Zachary, Lee, and of course Madison. Then Nikki, I guess she wasn't kidding when she said that snow was coming down really fast and it's about to get worse. So when Madison approaches Chelsea and Nikki, she was asking them if they had seen Sakura anywhere. I thought she was with you, Chelsea said. Now Madison's getting really worried and concerned and said that not only Sakura's still out there, but Eli is out there too. Lee, who heard this news from Madison, he was in shock. So back with Eli and Sakura, they made it to the ski lift booth, but there was nobody there. And what's worst of it all, it was all locked up. Well, long story short, thanks to Eli, he saved Sakura, and just in time too. Now, according to Sakura, here's a bigger problem. Since the blizzard has gotten so bad, there's no way for her to get back down. Now Sakura's really, really worried. But then that's when Eli tells her the best advice the best way he knew how. He told her, don't worry, just stay calm. Then he says, all you have to do is just think our way out of here, he said. So after Sakura listens to Eli's advice, that's when he said to her, we should ride out the storm from up here, he suggested. So long story short, Sakura thanked Eli for being there with her when he did. Long story short, back with Eli and Sakura, they just heard a rumbling coming from nearby. And that's when they saw an avalanche. That's when Eli says, we gotta get out of here, but there's a problem. Sakura was asking him how, and that the snow is moving too fast. I'm aware of that, Eli said. And here's another bigger problem, Eli says. It's heading for the chalet. This is bad news. And Sakura has this terrible thought that if she uses her magic, Eli will see her. So she thought about putting him to sleep with a sleep card, but then she thought, nah, it's not going to work. Because even if he was asleep, he'll get hurt, and what's worst of it all is that she can never carry Eli by herself. Then there's another thought. According to Sakura, that if they try to split up, Eli will be worried about her, and then he'll find her. So long story short, as the avalanche continues to get worse and worse, aha, Sakura has a plan. So, before she can head off, Eli was asking her, "Where are you going?" "Wait here," Sakura said, and so off she went. So, what was Sakura's plan? She knows that there's only one card that can save everyone, and that would be the time card. So, now that Sakura has her star staff ready, she transforms the time card. So that makes it 33. So with the time card, it froze the snow into place. So that plan worked, and when she was about to use the fiery star card, but unfortunately, because she used the star time card, it wore her out. So after Sakura passed out and just when things are looking bad, guess who decided to rescue her? It's Eli with his sun staff, and he did it just in time to dissolve the snow. He not only rescued Sakura, but also her friends. So the avalanche stopped thanks to Eli. So what Eli did next was any person would do, carry Sakura into his arms. He says, "Job well done, Sakura. Impressive." Meanwhile, back at the chalet, Mr. Terada, along with Sakura's friends and classmates, are starting to get worried about both her and Eli. Just when Mr. Terada was about to go out to look for them, but he didn't need to, because here comes Eli and Sakura, and they're skiing together and also heading in their direction. Well, Madison was glad to see not only that her best friend's okay, but so were her friends, and also Mr. Terada. So when Sakura collapsed, that's when Lee wants to know what's going on with her and is she okay? "She's okay," Eli says. "We're just having a hard time getting off the mountain. She just needs some rest, that's all," Eli said. So Lee went ahead and carried Sakura on his back so he can take her to the chalet where she can rest up. As everybody heads off except for Eli, Eli pleaded himself a case to say, "I really hate myself to put Sakura through all of this. But rest assured, she'll understand why soon enough." Then Eli says, "Until that time comes and when that time comes, sleep well, Sakura." And believe me, Eli wasn't kidding when he said that because she's going to need it, every minute of it. So now with the 33 star cards she has so far, what's going to happen next? So that ends episode 18.